This is one of the original Ibanez 540 P2s from the late 80s, early 90s. And for years I was thinking, wow, why didn't they never bring back this incredible, legendary, really cool looking shape? Guess what? We now have 2025 and they brought back the 550 P2. And in today's video I want to show you not only what is inside of this new Genesis Collection 550 P2, but I also want to show you the differences from the guitar 35 years ago compared to today's guitar that I'm now holding in my hands. So let's check it out. But before we go into the details of the new 540 P2, I want to talk a little bit about the history of this legendary guitar 35 years ago. Hey Guitar Champion, what's going on? I'm Mr. Hornbach back in my practice dojo and welcome to today's video. Yes, Ibanez brought back the 540 P2. A really interesting shape and design. I personally absolutely love that design the first time I saw it in a catalog. You know, seeing Alex Skolnick back in the day playing these kind of guitars, I was wondering, what kind of Ibanez is that? They never got really reproduced. Now they are back. And now, before, again, as I mentioned, we're going into that guitar, I want to talk about the interesting history behind the 540 P2. So first, there was the power guitar in general, how Ibanez has called it. And there were like two main series of the power guitar. One is called Radius and the other one is called Saber, which later has become the S series. Both were introduced in 1987, and I think, the Saber or the S series guitar is a guitar that probably most Ibanez fans are common with. It's a shape that a lot of guitar players used over the decades, me including. And yeah, I'm currently waiting for that really cool Stefan Forte S-type 7-string 27-fret signature guitar. And then there was also the Radius, which is a little bit more unfamiliar, uncommon. It was never quite a success. Some people might know this guitar. For me, I knew this guitar as the guitar that Joe Satriani used during his Surfing with an Alien time. And the Radius more and more evolved throughout the years through Joe Satriani's signature guitar. Designed were these guitars by Hoshino USA. Hoshino is the mother company of Ibanez. They own, for example, Ibanez and Tama. And Hoshino USA was responsible for designing the power, led by Rich Lasner, who were determined to make some sort of more metal kind of guitar. But unfortunately, the P1, the first power line, was not quite a success. So they changed certain things rapidly with the P2 and make it even more extreme. And in an interview, Rich Lasner once told that he was heavily inspired by Jackson guitars. So he started to implement the reversed headstock on an Ibanez guitar, and together with Alex Skolnick from Testament, he designed that interesting kind of reversed horn, reversed cutaway kind of shape. And with that, the P2 was born. One special thing of the P2 that I will talk about later is the wider nut in the neck. Here we have a 45mm wide nut, which was also inspired by necks from Jackson guitar, as Rich told in the same interview that I read. And even though that this guitar was heavily associated with thrash metal, Testament, Alex Skolnick, it was never reproduced after 1991. But like I often said here now, we have now the Genesis collection. It is now obviously back. I had it in my hands. I compared the old one and the new one, and I have to tell you, they are really great guitars. So let's check out what is inside the Genesis 540 P2 reissue. Here we go. In the 550 P2 from the Genesis collection, we have a Super Wizard 5-piece maple walnut neck, a basswood body, bounded rosewood fretboard, jumbo frets, of course 24 frets, the edge bridge, an original Ibanez Infinity neck pickup, and the V8 in the bridge. Check the link in the description box if you're interested in the price and more information. And now let's find out how these pickups sound. The biggest difference in both guitars is definitely the neck. The rest is pretty much the same. Okay, in this case now we have two humbuckers instead of one single coil and one humbucker, even though that I really like the single coil kind of sound. It reminds me of one of my favorite Ibanez guitars that I have currently, the 𝙤𝙤𝙢𝗚𝙦, and a really cool, interesting signature guitar that I'm about to get in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So, but the wood and all the other classical features of the 540 P2 is re-merged into the Genesis kind of collection. The biggest difference, again, as I mentioned, is the neck probably, because this neck is a little bit wider. This neck has a 45mm nut, while the other neck from the Genesis collection and from the usual Ibanez shapes, they have a 43mm nut. And also this neck has a finished back and a finished neck, which gives it kind of a really interesting feeling, and it has this really magical finish from the early 90s, late 80s, which doesn't worn out really. But now with the Genesis collection, they wanted to have a similar feeling like with the 565 Genesis or the 550 Genesis. For me personally, I would love to have a combination out of both, because I really like the feeling of the neck of the Genesis collection, but that finish is quite nice, and the 45mm nut, it makes a difference when you're playing it, but it's not too big of a difference. I mean, and when you are used to Ibanez guitars and Ibanez necks in general, then the Genesis collection is definitely yours. The way how the neck is built into the body is a little bit different with the old 540 P2. The cutout starts a little bit earlier with the Genesis collection. And also we have this little bevel here on the side of the cutaway of the shorter horn, the upper horn. Alright, so much for this video about the 540 P2 reissue of the Genesis collection. I hope you liked this little video. I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. Feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, or hit the like button. I wish you a lot of fun learning, practicing, and mastering the guitar. Cheers, and power your progress. Bye.